Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bethusile Tsunga, the founder and director of Ithemba for Girls Trust. Very passionate about helping girls in rural areas fight against challenges that force them to drop out of school. I'm going to be your moderator today for this session. The topic under discussion today is period poverty and the advancement of the girls' education. I would like to welcome everyone who has taken their time to join us as we discuss a very important topic, period poverty and the advancement of girls' education. I know that everyone who is logged in here right now has a passion for the education of girls. This is the right place for you to be this afternoon, and you are most welcome. Participants are welcome to raise their hands if they want to make a contribution or if they want to ask a question. And this time I would like to welcome our panelists, a special welcome to our 4 panelists who are going to take part in the discussion and help us map up a way forward on dealing with period poverty to promote the girls' education. They have a huge experience in working with girls to enhance the capacity of girls and advance their education, and are the best people to carry us through this discussion. Right, we have Natasha Guya from Shamwari Mwana Sikana. We have Theresa Nyava-Machadu from Sanitary Aid Zimbabwe Trust. We have Nobukhosi Zibusiso from the Girls Table. And we have Professor Nyela from Empower here. I'm actually very happy that we have a male panelist, because we really need to have a male perspective regarding this issue on menstruation, on period poverty, and all that. So this time I'll ask the panelists to fully introduce themselves. This is the time where you fully introduce yourselves, panelists. Starting with you, Natasha. Hello, Natasha. Okay, let's go to you, Theresa. Unmute yourself, we can't hear you.
All right, thank you so much. My name is Theresa Nyava-Machadu, and I'm the founder and executive director of Sanitary Aid Zimbabwe Trust. Sanitary Aid Zimbabwe Trust is a registered non-profit making organization that is on a mission to eradicate period poverty in Zimbabwe through the distribution of free sanitary wear to disadvantaged groups of girls and women in different walks of life. So we also, in distribution free of sanitary wear to these girls, we work with these disadvantaged girls, like the homeless girls and women who live in the streets. We also work with female prisoners, female refugees, schoolgirls in rural settings, as well as in urban settings, differently abled girls, or you would like to call them disabled girls, as well as differently abled women. We also very instrumental in lobbying, policy lobbying and advocacy. And we also offer menstrual health education to girls and women so that they can be in full control of their periods, as well as teaching boys and men about menstruation so that they can be able to understand fully the issue of menstruation, the subject of menstruation, and be able to treat girls and support girls who menstruate. So that's basically all about Sanitary Aid Zimbabwe Trust. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, for that introduction. Yes, your organization is doing a sterling job. We applaud you for that.
Thank
Right.
you.
Nobukhosi, please introduce yourself.
Good day to you all. I'm Nobukhosi Zibusiso Ncube from the Girls Table. I'm a board member there. Mainly, we're a non-profit that deals with women's or rather girls' issues, seeing the gap that is there in terms of socio and economic the social and economic situation in the country, issues of social justice and all that. So we also speak to issues that affect women and girls, seeing that the girl child is not empowered in terms of policy making, governance issues, and when it comes to decision making issues, they are not included. So we have seen it as our prerogative to make sure that we empower them through training, through giving them forum and the voice to say out, to air their views, and also ensure that their voice is heard in all the spheres. And seeing with this one on period poverty, we feel that as an organization, it is very much important that in all decision-making places, the policy changes, there should be a policy change to ensure that there is no period poverty in terms of the infrastructure that is being put in place, and also in terms of educating everyone, not girls only, but everyone. Things like poverty, period poverty should be demystified. It should not be a taboo to discuss in schools, in every fora that we have. Thank you.
Okay, I think we have poor network there, Nobukhosi. Meanwhile, I think we could move to Professor. Please fully introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Professor Nyela, the Financial Director of Empower here, a youth-led organization which seeks to improve the girl child's social, political, economic, and psychological status by means of educating, nurturing, and sustaining it. We are concerned about the welfare of the girl child, from education to sanitary wear. To that end, our goal is to incorporate various organizations such as the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Youth, and the Ministry of Education to make sure that the needs of the girl child are addressed from a national level. We also seek to assist less privileged girls with sanitary wear, clothing, and stationery, and as time progresses, to offer scholarships. I could say more on what we offer, but for more information, you can visit our Twitter account, which is Empower Zimbabwe, and also our Instagram account, which is Empower ZW. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your introduction. Natasha, are you there now?
Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Natasha Guya.
Natasha,
And, hello, can you hear me? My
yes,
name
go
is
ahead,
okay. My name is Natasha Guya, and I'm a programs coordinator at an organization called Shamari Manaskana. We are an organization which is premised on girls' rights, and our beneficiaries, our primary beneficiaries, are girls between the age of 0 to 18 years, even though we stretch with our girls' rights movement to young women aged 24. Basically, our organization has more to do with girls' rights and how we promote and advocate for their rights with the girls as partners, because we believe we cannot speak on behalf of the girls. The girls can speak for themselves, and us as an organization, we come on board supporting them, capacitating them with knowledge so that they do informed advocacy. We work with a number of thematic areas, which are child protection, sexual and reproductive health and rights, advocacy and influence, sustainable livelihoods. And we have a very helpful department which focuses on each and every form of abuse which forms on the girl child, which is the Girls Protection and Support Services. As Shamare we believe when we talk about issues which affect the girl child, it's not about us as an organization, but it's about each and everyone to come on board to make sure that girls are protected and their rights are promoted out there. So today's topic is very much what we believe as an organization and our each day-to-day work to ensure that girls' lives are promoted and matters in everything that we do as a nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Natasha, for your introduction. Right, to set the ball rolling, I'll just give a short background regarding the girls' education. Girls' education is very important to the development of any country. It empowers, it increases their chances to a better life and better jobs. It raises their self-esteem. They make better decisions about their lives and thus are able to, and thus are able to make a meaningful contribution to the development of their communities. Oprah Winfrey, who has a passion, once said, when you educate a girl, you begin to change the face of the nation. But unfortunately, the world is struggling to achieve gender equality in education, with over 130 million girls out of school globally, according to UNESCO, and about half of this is in Africa. Zimbabwe as a country is faced with this crisis. Even though the Constitution states that all children have the right to education, many girls are yet to realize that right. Girls' right to education in Zimbabwe is compromised by many factors such as child marriages, forced marriages, poverty, long distance to and from school, unsafe environments, household work, just to mention a few. This situation is likely to be worsened by the negative impact of COVID-19 lockdowns, which has further put a strain on a fragile economy, increasing unemployment and poverty. Period poverty is amongst the type of poverty that has been on the increase in Zimbabwe. This poverty will further threaten not only the education of girls, but their health as well. For every woman and girl necessary for the reproductive system, the process is not accorded the importance it deserves. That is why we found it important to discuss the issue of period poverty and the advancement of girls' education to try and find ways in which we can come together and help to restore the dignity of girls. We cannot keep on agonizing about period poverty without taking any steps to deal with the crisis. Right, so this is my this is the opening remarks, and then to the participants who would like to take part and your hand is raised, you'll be attended to. Right, thank you very much. Right, Mamu, our technician, before we go to the discussion points, do we have anyone who would want to to ask a question or want to contribute? Mamu?
Currently there's no hands being raised, but it was just a nice feature there to tell people that should they raise their hands, we will get to them eventually once the due process is done.
All right, that's fine. Okay, we'll go straight to our discussion point. Our first discussion point is, what do you understand by the term period poverty? We know that that menstruation is a biological process that all girls, women go through, and they need sanitary materials every month to contain the flow, unless they are pregnant, which means there is a need for a sizable budget for that process every. Explain and understand that period poverty, what period poverty is. And to help us do that, I will ask Natasha to take us through the understanding of period poverty.
Okay, thank you very much, Betu. From my understanding, when we talk about period poverty, we are talking about issues to do with the challenges that girls and young women face in relation to managing their menstrual cycles in a healthy and hygienic way. So from my understanding now, period poverty becomes the lack of sufficient sanitary products as well as the necessary means to manage the menstrual cycle itself in a healthy and a hygienic way. And when we look at this period poverty, we are looking at from researches that were done, you look at 1 in 4 women in their menstruating years, they experience this form of period poverty, ranging from inability to purchase the products that they need, such as the sanitary wear and the, issues to do with lack of school, inability to go to work, and even the water and sanitation aspects of menstrual health management. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Natasha. From the panelists, do we have anyone who would like to add on to what Natasha has said? Panelists, are you there?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, do you want to add on to what Natasha has said?
Yes. Oh, you can go first.
All right. Well, just to add on what Natasha has said on defining period poverty, like Natasha said, that it doesn't mean only the lack of proper sanitary wear. We also have issues like lacking of underwear. We've been to places whereby we have been distributing sanitary wear products, and we find out that the girls do not even have an underwear to start with. So imagine giving somebody a packet of sanitary pads, but they don't even have an underwear to hold the pad in position. That is definitely period poverty. That person is suffering from period poverty. And I also wanted to highlight that of the 3 million girls and women who menstruate in Zimbabwe, I would like to say that we virtually suffer from period poverty in a way. Like I might afford to have sanitary care products. I might have even the menstrual cup that I can use for over 10 years. I might have on top of the menstrual cup, I might have disposable sanitary pads. I might have all the menstrual care products that I can use during my menstruation. But if I'm having period pain and I do not have the pain relievers to relieve myself from that pain, then I'm suffering from period poverty as well. And also I might have all those, including the pain relievers, but then I go to work. I have one woman, a friend of mine, who have been telling me she works in the industries, and they only have one toilet that they share, both men and women, and that means that and that toilet doesn't even have a door. So we're talking about, I have all the other menstrual care product that I need to manage my periods, but then when I go to work, I only use one bathroom with that I share with men and other girls. Then it doesn't have a door. That definitely means it doesn't have privacy. A man can just get in the bathroom when I'm changing my sanitary wear, and then it means I don't have privacy. That's period poverty. It doesn't have water. At times at the workplaces, they don't have water facilities. So I'm supposed to wash my hands before and after using changing my sanitary wear. Then if I don't have the water facilities, then it means I'm suffering from period poverty in a way. If I also don't have a disposal bin to to put my pads, the pad that I would have changed, it means that I'm suffering from period poverty. And also, lastly, to think of a rural school girl who uses a Blair toilet, which doesn't have a door, which doesn't have water facilities, like I was saying, which we call female friendly toilets. Toilets which are not female friendly are the toilets which doesn't have a door. For instance, a toilet which doesn't have a disposal bin to put my used sanitary ware. A toilet which doesn't have even hooks on the wall, so that I can even hang my bag or my handbag and do my, change my pads. So if that bathroom doesn't have all those facilities, then it definitely means that I'm suffering from period poverty in a way. So thank you so much. That's what I wanted to add on.
Oh, thank you very much, Theresa. Yes, I'm actually quite learning that the term period poverty does not necessarily just refer to sanitary wear, sanitary pads. There is much more to it than just those. We need to promote even a friendly environment where women can change their pads in a friendly environment and in a dignified way. So which it covers even the toilets, the female toilets that we have around in our communities, and the female toilets that are there in schools. Are they friendly enough for girls and for women to change their pads? So thank you very much for that, Theresa. Okay, moving on to the next discussion point. What is the situation of period poverty like in Zimbabwe? And I will ask Theresa to take care of that. We know that in Zimbabwe, sanitary pads are very expensive, and we have organizations and individuals who donate sanitary pads to schools and different communities. But is that enough? What happens when one cannot afford to buy sanitary pads? To help us understand the situation, Theresa, please take us through that question.
Thank you so much. So to start with, the situation of period poverty in Zimbabwe can be understood from the economic situation and the general poverty situation in Zimbabwe. As we speak right now, Zimbabwe is facing the worst economic crisis in more than a decade, with the GDP projected to decline to minus 10.4% this year. Also, inflation has increased sharply to 786% in May, which is the second highest in the world. Also, the cost of living have rose to 11,334 Zimbabwean dollar in June. Yet we still have the majority of employees who are still earning as little as 1,500 Zimbabwean dollar. So with the price of a packet of pads costing over $100, many women and girls are finding it difficult to manage to access adequate sanitary care products, and they can't afford. So before we reached this phase, studies which have been conducted by SNB study established that 72% of schoolgirls do not use proper sanitary wear, whilst 70% of girls, schoolgirls, do not even know any sanitary wear brand on the market. Why? Because especially in the rural areas, 40% of rural shops, they don't stock any sanitary wear. For example, during this COVID-19 pandemic, we have a Sanitary Aid Zimbabwe have been doing community-based distributions, whereby we send money to different volunteers and people who are in different communities. They purchase sanitary pads, they do the distribution on our behalf. But then we have other places that we are failing to access. Why? Because we can't send money so that they can buy the sanitary wear products. They don't have the sanitary wear products in the shops there. And the shopkeepers, they see it as a loss to stock something that people won't even buy. So they are not stocking pads. At the same time, we can't even buy sanitary wear here in Harare and send the sanitary wear to those remote areas, because we don't have transport, the no transport, the no buses or anything. So those places are actually being left out, in as much as period poverty is very prevalent in the rural areas. So this is how the situation of period poverty is like in Zimbabwe. including the effects of period poverty, which are some of them are transactional sex. We have girls and we have girls who have been doing distributions of sanitary wear products too. We have been distributing to homeless girls, but they at the end of the day are selling sex for money so that they can be able to buy sanitary wear. They have bases. They call them bases. Like in Harare, they've what we call kunjanji. Kunjanji, they just go there. They can hook up with men who they can sleep with, get money, and they can be able to buy sanitary wear as well as food. We've been to Rishavani. There are places like in Mandawa where girls as young as 11 are sleeping with men. They're selling sex for money so that they can be able to purchase sanitary wear. We have in Epworth, kunonzi ku booster. Whenever they need money, they just go there ku booster and they sleep with men and they are given money so that they can be able to what? To buy sanitary wear. Then these have social effect like unwanted pregnancy. You sleep with a man today, tomorrow she falls pregnant. Early marriages as well as school dropouts. We also have health risk like due to those transactional sex like STIs, especially in this lockdown, during this COVID-19 pandemic. The girls are also risking themselves to COVID because they're just going out there and sleeping with men just so that they can get money. So they're also risking themselves to COVID-19 pandemic. Also, we have health risk due to repeated use of unhygienic means of sanitary wear, just to try and manage their periods, like urinary and reproductive tract infections, infertility, cervical cancer. By the way, Zimbabwe is in the top 10 of cervical cancer deaths in Africa. So that's basically the situation of period poverty in Zimbabwe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Theresa, for that brief on the situation on the ground. And it looks like period poverty is not just violating the dignity of the women, but it's also threatening the well-being of the women, as in whatever they're using threatens their health in so many ways. There is a participant, Preeti Marunze, who wanted to contribute after Theresa spoke that in rural areas, she is aware that some women are using cow dung, which she believes that is a threat to the health of the women. And that also forms part of the period poverty. Thank you very much, Preeti Marunze, on that note. Right, going ahead with our discussion, the next area is the topic of menstruation openly discussed. Do girls have access to information regarding menstrual health and hygiene management? I would like to give this area to Professor just to highlight to us whether this topic of menstruation, is it given enough attention, information, are people talking about it?
Thank you very much. Forgive me, I don't know much of the details, but I'll just say what I know. Well, it's a yes. It's a yes and a no answer. No, because of the taboos that surround the topic. Traditionally, it was regarded that when a woman goes through this process, she's regarded to be unclean, and so she had to isolate. So we still have some traditions or some cultures that still uphold that norm, and this has reflected negatively to our girls and women. Access to information, yes, because there are organizations such as UNFPA and also in which provide such information and education on the topic. We also have some schools which also provide such services on educating the girl child on this topic. But then on rural girls and women, I wouldn't say they have that access to the information and education. Also, yeah, I guess that's what I have for now. But then we also come to the, because of the realization of the effect that the menstruation has on women, it has been encouraged that it be openly spoken about, and there's been an encouragement for fathers, uncles, and brothers to also be educated upon this topic. Thank you very much.
Are you done, Professor?
Yes, you couldn't hear me.
Professor,
Hello?
are you done?
Yes, yes, I hope you heard me.
Hello, are you done?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that perspective of involving family members in this topic of menstruation. Uncles, fathers, brothers should be comfortable in discussing the welfare of their sisters, the welfare of their aunts, the welfare of their mothers. And they should actually play an active role in this whole situation, so that even when they are budgeting at home, the menstrual products are budgeted for by the father, by the brothers, by everyone at home. Thank you very much for that. Right, and then is there anyone, technician, is there anyone who has raised the hand to contribute?
Yes, I'm gonna forward them now. From Mr. Clifford, would like to ask a question, I assume.
Okay.
Mr. Clifford, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you so much. Hello?
Yes, we're listening.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, we're listening.
Okay, my name is Clifford Kukutu. I'm the founder and director of a women's advocacy organization based in Gweru called Women of Africa Trust. My question is, what exactly have we done as community, as civil society organizations to ensure that period poverty is curbed? And what is it that we anticipate to do maybe in the future to empower or to ensure a generation which is free from all these forms of period poverty, child prostitution, child marriages and everything and that? Because on my understanding is, does it really help, or is it necessary to continue giving a girl child sanitary wear each and every month? What are we doing as civil society organization to ensure an environmentally friendly approach when it comes to sanitary wear? What are we doing to empower the girl child in terms of skills development? Are we offering some kind of training so that they can actually do it for themselves, so the sanitary pads for themselves, so that we might not continue to take money out of our pockets, buying pads, giving to them? What exactly are we doing? What is the role of us as a civil society organization that works with adolescent girls and young women to eradicate period poverty? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's actually very detailed question and contribution to, on that. I think, can we just hang on to that question, because we have a topic of discussion which say what are we doing about? Maybe after that, if you are not answered, then we can come back to your question. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you very much. This one I would give it to Nobukhosi, which says, how does period poverty impact on the education of girls? Nobukhosi, how does period poverty affect the education of girls?
Yes, as alluded to earlier on by panelists, you find that young women are forced to be absent from school on the days when they are menstruating, and that's about 20% of that time. And at most times you find that they end up dropping out of school altogether because they cannot afford the sanitary wear. This then leads to them being forced to get into early child marriages, which further impacts them because it means that they're not empowered to do anything as it were, because if you are not academically inclined, you still need skills. And the moment you are married, you're now faced with the other responsibilities. And two, the issue surrounding menstruation brings with it shame, because it is a taboo subject in our society. It's shrouded in mystery. So the mere fact that it's not really demystified, especially in our rural areas, it brings with it problems, because as you realize, because of the myths surrounding menstruation, you find that women or girls are not allowed to cook because they are termed unclean. Even in the religious circles, some religious sects will not allow them to be part of the services because it's that time of the month for them. So it means all round they are not equipped. In the religious sects, in the religious sector, they are considered clean. It then shows how much of a hindrance it becomes in their lives, because now they are forced into situations where their education is stunted, and it leaves them without a means to take care of themselves. So as long as we are not taking the issue of period poverty seriously, it means our growth as a country will remain stunted. If we do not take period poverty seriously, it means really we are not taking human rights seriously, because menstrual health generally, it is a human right. So if we treat it separately from the other human rights, then we have a problem. I'll give an instance, right now, because of COVID-19, we are saying there should be enough water, sanitation should be at the topmost of everyone's priority. So this is the same the period poverty should be given the same, or rather menstrual health should be given the same priority like we are giving COVID-19, because if we do not do that, it means we are still going to have generations of women who are suppressed because of their menstrual issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nobukhosi, on that one. Do we have any panelists that want to add on to what Nobukhosi has just said? Panelists?
Yes, I would like to add a bit from what she was saying. Okay, so basically, even if the girls manage to attend school with the makeshift period protection, then there is lack of concentration as well as lack of participation, and low confidence and self-esteem, as well as low performance. For instance, imagine when somebody is actually using a rag to manage their periods when they are in school. they're usually the last person to stand up to go to on break time or on lunch. They're also scared of, they're always worried about, what if I have soiled my uniform or my chair and everybody is going to laugh at me? They don't even feel confident to raise their hand or participate or just go to the board and do something, present, particularly to present or, you know, make a contribution, which requires them to stand up from their chair and walk to the front of the class, because they're just scared that probably my reg can just you know, slip and fall. My reg can just move from the position, and I might just soil my uniform, my chair, and everybody's going to laugh at me. At the end of the day, they don't participate well like they should have done when everything is okay, when they have full control of their periods. So those are actually some of the impact of period poverty on the education of girls. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Theresa. The next one is actually maybe the most important area of the topic of the day. What can we do to end period poverty? What can we do to end period poverty? So this will actually call upon all the panelists to actually give us their programs on what they are doing with their organizations to actually try and eliminate period poverty. I'll start with Natasha. Natasha, you were saying that you are going to leave us early. Please give us your bit on how you believe we can reduce period poverty.
Thank you very much, Betu. Can you hear me now? Yes, first and foremost, I really love my fellow panelists' explanations when we're giving about issues to do with menstrual health, menstrual poverty, and in terms of its impact. I'm going to talk about the initiative that we have been doing as Shamare Mwanaskana, also tapping into the current situation that is already there. First and foremost, if you want to end period poverty, we have to shift our thinking and our understanding of period poverty, because in most instances, it's being trivialized, not only by the girls in the community, the men in the community, our decision makers, policy makers, it's being trivialized because of a number of issues. When we talk about period poverty now, we need a revolutionized truth in Zimbabwe, because it's not only going to affect the current generation, but even the generation to come. Women in Zimbabwe right now, we are facing difficulties, be it looking at water and sanitation, but most of us, we are suffering in silence because of a number of issues, of which I feel it's a problem that has been building on, cultivated from way back, where we have to hide issues to do with menstruation. So when we talk about period poverty now, let's look at how it's being viewed in the community. The men, they've got a very important role to play, because we have to look at the patriarchal system that we have in our societies. Let's engage men in these discussions. Like, I really love the fact that as part of the panelists, we have Professor who is a male, who is giving a male voice. When we come to the household, the budgeting itself, you know, which plays a very big role in terms of period poverty, sanitary pads and all of that, we have the men at the standpoint who is giving the money to the woman to go and buy those. So engaging them now is the first step to ensure that we have a better understanding. This conversation is not going to be limited to women alone, but it's going to be for each and everyone to come on board, because it's very important. Like how we discuss about issues of giving free condoms, that's how these issues should be discussed when we talk about period poverty. Second thing, I'm just looking at how we should stop trivializing our period poverty. Look at how mealie meal has been subsidized, you know. The cost of mealie meal, I'm going to give on that, giving reference to what other panelists have been talking about. Poverty is a very big factor to period poverty. Mealie meal has been subsidized, But when you talk about sanitary pads, they have not been subsidized. Now, giving a scenario that the family itself is suffering, they do not have food to eat, what are they going to prioritize? They are going to buy meal instead of what? Sanitary, because they feel it's important to feed the family than focus on that, because our policymakers, our decision makers, that's what they have been prioritizing. Let's subsidize what is being important. What's important is meal, but the look of it, like what Nobukhosi highlighted, it's not being prioritized. So given that nature itself, you know, our societies, they're steeped with, you know, the patriarchy to the extent that when we talk about period poverty, it's going to be trivialized. So what is it that we need to do? First and foremost, the girls themselves, they have to understand that when you talk about menstruation, when you talk about periods, it's not something that should hide. Gone are the days where we should train and raise our daughters and say that whenever you spoil, you should feel humiliated. You know, whenever you spoil, you find a generation of young boys laughing at muskana and then a spoiler. You know, that itself trivializes this issue to the extent that when they grow up now, they don't note the importance of menstruation or menstrual management. They don't take its note, whereby adding more to the period poverty that each and every day that girls are facing. So as Shamari Manaskana, we have been having a number of conversations with the girls themselves on our online direct platform. We talk about issues of menstrual management, how it's not a shameful process, but it's an act of nature, and we should be proud about it because that's how it is, you know. We have been having these discussions, engaging more experts to come on board and discuss these issues. And we have been continuing disseminating information on menstrual health and hygiene management to all girls, you know, deconstructing a number of social norms and practices that inhibit the free discussion of period poverty and issues surrounding it. Other than that, we have been engaging even other partners to do with making sure that issues of menstrual management, issues of periods, they are not going to be trivialized. That is a bigger platform, engaging even with parliamentarians. Let's discuss these issues. Let's call a spade a spade, because you know what, when we talk about period poverty, we need a truth revolution. And by a truth revolution now, it's more about not playing hide and seek, but calling a spade a spade. Issues of period menstrual management, period poverty are being trivialized even by the policymakers and decision makers in Zimbabwe. So we've also been looking at issues to do with skills, you know, skills enhancement to the girls themselves. Pads are very much expensive. Through our Sustainable Livelihood Department, we are training them, the girls, to sew reusable sanitary pads, because it's very much important for them to understand that with clean fabrics, they can make their own reusable sanitary pads they can use for a long time. But we are not going to be stopping on that itself. They need soap to wash those reusable sanitary pads. So we've been donating even soap and a package of reusable sanitary pads to the girls in different communities that we operate in. We've been also running campaigns, paid campaigns, to make sure that people come on board to support this initiative. When you talk about issues of period poverty linking to availability of sanitary wear, let's not make it an individual problem, but let's look at our fellow sisters, other women in Zimbabwe, other girls in Zimbabwe, and make sure that each and everyone come on board and support when it comes to donating. We have also been talking about issues to do with policy shifts and budgetary allocations, because it goes on that as well. If you want to deal with period poverty, we also have to move it to the national level. What are the policies saying? What is the national budget talking about? Because we want to shift that. We don't want policies and budgetary allocations which are going to be piecemeal. actions to appease women and girls in the community. We want policies and budgetary allocations which looks at this problem as important, with its priority, you know, given its priority, its due priority that it should be given. Focusing even to issues to do with devolution funds in different provinces, in different districts. We're talking about even the councils themselves, the budget, the money that they should be allocated. Is it going to be enough to cater for issues of water and sanitation in communities they cater for? Do they have enough funds that are going even to cater for schools, the council schools, you know, the council government schools that they have in the community? Do they have the water and sanitation facilities? Do they have even the free sanitary pads that they should be allocated to? Because it should be important. So now, period poverty, as Shamare Manaskana, we have taken it not only from the community aspect, from the individual aspect, it's more the individual, the community, to the national level. Because if we have policies that support women and girls, you know, not in a piecemeal action manner, but in a realistic more way that is going to help women and girls in the community, that is going to look at dealing with period poverty at a larger scale, I feel like we can make a change. And as these conversations that you've been talking about are taking this conversation at a higher stage where each and everyone should come on board and make a very big noise to make sure that period poverty is an end in Zimbabwe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Natasha. You are doing very well in your organization regarding efforts to eradicate period poverty. And I tend to agree with you when you actually say the issue of period poverty is not taken seriously in Zimbabwe. It's not given the priority that it deserves, right at the top policy making. And I would actually maybe come in to actually say, as Ithemba for Girls, we are actually planning to draft a petition which we are actually going to send to the government, to the ministry, relevant ministry, petitioning them to either subsidize the menstrual products, or they give them for free, especially in the schools, because it looks like no one is pushing the government to make decisions. They are not feeling the pressure. So it is for us organizations that have a passion to eradicate period poverty, to do something to bring this to the front, to bring it to their doorsteps at the offices so that they can make decisions regarding that. So I'm actually going to be approaching your organizations to support us with that petition, because if we do not come together and fight together, you know that divided we fall, but united we stand. So these organizations, we need to come together and speak in one voice and approach the government and pester them until they formulate policies that actually prioritize the products, the menstrual products, for the dignity of women and girls. Right, having said that, let's move on to Professor. Professor, what contribution is your organization doing towards eradicating period poverty?
As Empower here, we seek to educate not only our girls and women, but also our brothers, uncles, and our fathers, so that they can be supportive to our girls and women when they go through such times. We have also encouraged our brothers to buy chocolates, pads, and be supportive to their partners during this, when their partners are going through such times. And we've been moving in the right directions, because we've seen most varsity students doing it. Yes, they might consider it as being romantic, but then it's just a way to alleviate period poverty. Then as we also seek to empower our ladies in order to speak up and in order to eradicate the shyness that some women have when it comes to menstruation. We encourage them to speak out, mostly our girls to be able to go to their fathers, to their brothers and say, Dad, I'm on my periods, those type of things. And also we've also held seminars in school where we educate students, not only the girl child, but the both male and female as a whole. We've also engaged with different ministries, which is the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Sports, and we also seek engagement with organizations and companies so that they may provide the drilling of boreholes in rural areas, because we seek to donate reusable pads, but then reusable pads, you can't just go and donate reusable pads without the necessary things needed in order to maintain the hygiene. So we also have tried to engage with companies to drill boreholes in the rural areas in order to alleviate period poverty. We also donate clothes so that our girls can be able to change, because we know in rural areas some people do not have a pile of clothes. They are heavily dependent on maybe one pair of a dress. So we seek to just donate an extra pair so that if she stains a dress, she can be able to change into another one. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having an organization that is going an extra mile to really think about the plight of the girls to that level. Thank you very much. And I'm actually very happy or impressed that we have like a male voice that takes this topic seriously, like you're doing, Professor. Thank you very much for that. Nobukhosi, you're the last one to actually tell us what your organization is doing regarding period poverty.
Thank you again. Like I said in the beginning, Girl Table seeks to amplify girls' and women's voices by documenting their experiences so that we are able to track progress on inclusion of girls and women's issues in policies and laws. We've realized that
I'm sorry, we can't hear you speaking. May you please speak into the mic? Thank you.
Yeah. Right. We seek to amplify girls and women's voices through documenting their experiences so that we track progress on their inclusion in issues of policies and laws. We've realized that there is a gap. We have these meetings, we do policy documents, but there is no follow-up when it comes to issues that affect women and girls. Again, we also do training programs for young ladies so that they become effective leaders in their communities, because we cannot all do everything, but we seek that we seek to empower the girls through training programs so that they know how to navigate the patriarchal society, as it were, that we live in. And we also inform, we educate and inform girls on their constitutional rights and teach them on how to engage with the policymakers so that they advocate and lobby for their rights to be heard. Like I said earlier on, menstrual health is also a human right on its own. So they need to be trained, they need to be equipped on how to engage policymakers, because we can all talk of we need to do it, but proper training has to be done. So we collaborate with trainers, people who are experts in those areas. We collaborate again with other institutions on areas that we have identified, because like I also said, we also seek to promote and advocate for women's economic and social justice. People who are women who are economically empowered have do have the means to make sure that their voice is heard. And once we have women who are in civic and political and decision-making bodies, it means that the voice of women is more amplified, because they know they are living the experience. It's easier to deal with an issue from the perspective of someone who is working in those shoes. So mainly our goal as Girls Table is to make sure that girls and women's voices are amplified, and the issue, again, as I earlier said, is to track the progress on inclusion of girls and women's issues. Because if we talk and there is no action and there is no follow-up, it means we won't know where we are going. So as we track for all these issues, it means we are at a better position to inform and have collaborations with other organizations, so as to ensure that that where there is a gap, where there are issues, they can be solved. Because as long as there is no tracking, it means will always be going backwards. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. Yes, it looks like organizations are on the ground working very hard in their own way, in their own communities, to try and alleviate, help the girls alleviate period poverty. Right now, what is the way forward? What should we do going forward? What is our resolution from this discussion that we can actually say when we came up with this resolution? What is our resolution? Natasha, what would you say? I'm happy you're still here.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate what other organizations have been doing to ensure that we deal with issues of period poverty. First and foremost, what we can do as organizations currently, let's not see ourselves as individual redeemers of issues of period poverty. It's not about Shamare Mwanaskana, it's not about sanitary aid, but it's about the girl child and young women and women in general who needs to be assisted. There are a number of collaborative programs that we can do to amplify our voices, because without an amplified voice, we cannot progress as civil society to bring change in the communities. We currently, like what you highlighted, Betu, you are working on a petition, right? The petition should not just speak about Ithemba, no, but let's speak with girls' voices in mind. That is each and everyone to come on board and support such initiatives. Let's be a team in making sure that girls and women are protected and we end period poverty. Another thing, let's not be selfish in trying to assist women and girls in the community. Let's not claim them as our girls. Let's claim them as the girls of Zimbabwe. So each and every initiative that you are going to introduce, let's think about how we can make it bigger and better. When we are going to make like engagements with parliamentarians, engagement with different ministries, if we go there as a unit, we are going to be heard, our voices are going to be heard. Right now, I feel like it's an opportunity that COVID-19 brought to us as organizations. Most of the activities that we are doing, they are online. And you can never go wrong with just engaging in organizations that you have heard are doing different initiatives to assist women and girls or to end period poverty. Like what Professor was highlighting, currently they are donating, they want to donate reusable sanitary pads. It's not even a problem to engage other organizations to partner this initiative and come up with dignity kits that are going to be very much helpful to girls and women in the community, because we have come as a collective to discuss and assist on that. So as way forward, my biggest word is that let's not be in isolation in helping women and girls in the community. Let's be a group to amplify our voices, to make sure that collectively we can bring change in the community.
Wow,
Thank you.
very much. Yes, thank you very much for that. Actually, I actually believe in that if you you isolate yourself, you are not going to achieve much. Together, if we do it together, collectively work together, we are likely to achieve more. This is why you find that I actually believe in bringing organizations of the same cause together to try and map a way forward. Because I realize that working in isolation, you might not achieve much. So let's come together and collectively fight together. Okay, Professor, what is our way forward? What is our resolution?
Well, we should continue working together as organizations and continue doing the good works we are doing. We should also create as much awareness in all facets possible. We can engage with TV stations, engage with radio stations, schools, and also ministries, so that we create as much awareness possible, and also engagement with different parastatals in order to help alleviate period poverty. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Theresa?
Thank you so much. So I just want to start by citing a few of the positive developments in terms of what has been done so far at government level. So we have seen the Education Amendment Act being passed into law. And one of the provisions of the act is that there should be free sanitary wear for all the schoolgirls, as well as good sanitation. So we now await for full implementation of these and other issues. So going forward, I think that it is also important to continue lobbying the government as a collective to create and implement appropriate menstrual health policies. I actually think if we are actually lobbying for the government to have a concrete law that requires sanitary products to be provided for free. Further, I also believe that there is no one solution that is an end in itself, but every measure is a means to an end when it comes to ending period poverty. So we need to come up with comprehensive measures to foster menstrual equity once and for all, and we need to work together as a menstrual coalition in Zimbabwe. So further, we need to educate, like we need to provide education as well as passing correct information. It's really very key. We need to educate the girls first and foremost about menstruation, so that they understand fully what menstruation is and what they should do, so that they can be able to be in full control of their menstruation. So we have our parents. Parents have been like when a girl starts having menstruating, our parents, our mothers, our aunts, our grannies, they've always told us not to tell anyone. That is the first thing that they tell us. Do not tell anybody. Do not let your father or your brother know that you are menstruating. This should be your secret. You know, those are some of the things that we should also educate our parents about, the parents about. We also need to educate teachers, as well as teachers and parents, because at home, parents think that it's the duty of the teachers at school to educate girls about menstruation. At school, they educate, but not in depth. They don't provide in-depth education about menstruation. They also think that the parents at home have that role to educate their children about menstruation. So we also have to educate the boys and men. Yes, we have a Center AIDS, but we have been educating boys and men about menstruation. We have been to different boys' high schools, and you know, one of my friend even asked, why do you even go to boys, educating boys about menstruation when they do not menstruate and it's not a boys' issue? Then I was like, no, this is an issue that affects everyone, and it's not a girls' issue. It's an issue that affects everyone. And those boys are the ones who bully. They're the ones who period shame girls at school when the girls soil their uniforms, when when they're menstruating. Why do they do so? Because they do not have information. They lack knowledge about menstruation. They use menstruation as a tool to bully girls with. They use menstruation as a tool to make fun of girls. They don't know that menstruation is just a normal biological process, and it is inevitable. So if we teach the boys, we've also been distributing our period pledge certificates to a lot of boys, and we have actually managed to reach 800 of them. Because boys now can understand what period menstruation is, what are periods, and they know they can be able to support the girls. And wherever we went there, we got reports like when the girls are menstruating at school, boys are even helping with giving them their jerseys so that they can tie around when they soil their uniforms. Some are even going to the tuck shop and buying a packet of sanitary pads and supporting the girl who is actually menstruating. So I also raising, in terms of education, we also need to educate the policymakers who make policies. For instance, most of them are actually men. And if they do not have that information, if they do not understand fully what menstruation is about, then the policies that they are making, they will be exempting women as well as the issues of menstruation. So they really need to be educated much about this issue, about this subject, so that they can be able to make policies are favorable for menstruation for vechikadzi and the girls. Also look at the consumer basket. It basic needs in Zimbabwe. It doesn't even include a sanitary way, which is also a basic commodity. It's all because of lack of education for those who would have done that, cultivated that in place. So education is actually one of the things that we really need to do. And also raising awareness about the impact of period poverty. It is very key, because in some spaces, some do not even realize that period poverty is a problem to begin with. So we have always emphasized that period poverty is actually a pandemic within a pandemic, and is one issue that we can continue to violate quite a number of fundamental rights and freedoms of girls and women. So the provision of free sanitary wear to all disadvantaged women and girls. We have been lobbying during every budget formulation for allocation of funds to end period poverty. And we are happy when government allocated the $200 million sanitary wear fund. But however, we now urge that government should allocate this fund as a matter of urgency, even during this period of school closures, because period poverty is still very affecting the future of the girls' education through risky behaviors that they now resort to access a sanitary wear, like transactional sex that I touched on before. So as Center AIDS Zimbabwe, we have been doing workshops teaching girls how to sew their reusable sanitary wear, as well as making their own soap and detergent. So as well as empowering them to take ownership of these initiatives. And I also like what Natasha had said. You know, in this civic society organization, this space, we are not in a business. Hence, we're not in a competition. Hence, I believe that working together is the only way we can do it. You know, we can achieve more when we do it together than when we isolate ourselves, like Natasha just said. So yeah, that's what I believe in, working together is organization, so that we can, since we're also wanting to achieve the same goals. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Theresa, for your input on the resolution. I think the common denominator that keeps on coming is that we need to work together. We need to work together because working in isolation, we might not achieve as much. But when we come together, we're stronger together. Right? Nobukhosi, your resolution, please.
Okay, yes. I'd like to thank the other panelists. Seeing that we need to work together, I think it's very much important that we identify the various ministries that have to do with period poverty. There is the issue of, we've got, for instance, we've got the Ministry of Environment. As we go forward, as time goes forward, you'll find that we've got so many landfills. Disposable sanitary ware has to be disposed of somehow, and we have to do it in a manner that is friendly to the environment. That means inclusion of the Ministry of Environment. We also need the Ministry of Education. We need the Ministry of Health. So we also need to identify the core ministries that affect our cause, as it were, so that we are able to come up with a policy document that we can push, that makes sense, because we cannot approach one, as it were, approach one ministry, because there are various arms of government that will also impact how this is treated. We need to make sure that whatever material is used to make sanitary ware is subsidized. We can also try and push for an act, as it were, an act of parliament that makes it easy, that will make it easy for those who must produce sanitary ware. Because as it is, what makes these products expensive is that the policymakers do not have knowledge or do not have an idea how much people are affected. So as we all sit down to think of all these things, we also need to identify the key ministries that are going to affect us. We all need to sing this song every day, because this is an everyday issue. It's still going to affect the future children. It needs to be sung in every school, in every radio station, in any way. So I'm thinking that as we are done with this meeting, we need to give ourselves a time frame to say by December we need to have pushed, like you're saying, you've got a document that you're doing, whatever collaborative efforts are being made. We need to have a time frame to say by December we would have approached government with our say this is what we're pushing for. We need to give ourselves time frame. We cannot speak generally. We need to push ourselves. We need to tackle this with the sense of urgency that it deserves, so that we are all taken seriously. So we also need to, like I said, we need to demystify the way the message is spread about.
I'm sorry, can you please increase your volume? Attendees are asking that you increase your volume. They're struggling to hear what you're saying.
Hello?
Increase your...
Can you hear me?
Perfect, yes, we can hear you now, perfect.
Hear me now. I was saying we need to identify the ministries that will affect the issue on period poverty. It's very imperative to identify all of you. For instance, Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Education, and various other ministries. When we approach them, we present our document, it will be easier to identify for them to identify where they can come in. This is not a one ministry thing. It affects our various ministries. And also, we need to give ourselves a time frame. We need to take it seriously. So what it means is we should give ourselves a time frame. Since we started the ball rolling by going into this discussion, I believe that, say, by the policy, going to track, we are going to evaluation and monitoring
following atonement from Europe and much of Asia. Cautious comments, though, let's be clear, from Walmart on its sales outlook injecting a bit of caution pre-market. That said, the S&P 500 will be trading close to record highs at the open, a record close.
Please mute if you are not speaking.
Hello?
Okay,
Sorry?
thank you. Thank you very much, Nobukhosi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much, Nobukhosi. Yes, my contribution towards that, I believe the government needs to regard the issue as a priority. Education about menstruation should be introduced at an early age in schools and encouraged at homes, encouraged in churches, communities, everywhere. Like we have already said, it is also the responsibility of the government to make sure that affordable sanitary products are accessible to all, even in the marginalized areas, through subsidizing the price of sanitary pads or even making them free, especially for school-going kids, girls. It is also the responsibility of the government to make sure that women and girls access safe sanitation facilities that promote hygienic experiences during their menstruation. And we need a collaborative approach. I'm actually quite happy that everyone is talking about us collaborating more. We need to have a collaborative approach and a unity of purpose of all stakeholders in our fight against period poverty. And we are serious with advancing the education of girls. So these organizations that were working with girls, they need to collaborate with the relevant ministries, like Nobukhosi was saying, and we need to collaborate more and work with the relevant governments to push for the cause of the girls. Ithemba for Girls, like I said, believes we should make a bold step of petitioning the government to subsidize sanitary pads as a way of advancing, instead of just allocating like 200 million, and you never know how that 200 million has been used. We just want to be able to buy those sanitary pads. Just like it's as easy to buy condoms, it should be as easy to buy sanitary pads. So we just need the government to make sure that everyone can afford to purchase a packet of sanitary pads. And this requires a collaborative approach and a unity of purpose of all organizations. They need to come on board and fight together for the cause of girls. That's my contribution. Anyone else who has anything to say before we close? Anyone with a contribution before we close? Before we close, I just want to thank our dear participants. Do you want to say something, Nobukhosi?
Yes, I would like to. I'm facing this as a challenge to all of us. Can we give ourselves a time frame to say we are going to have done something, say by end of October, or they have presented a document? Because I believe the same agency that COVID-19 has been treated with, we can also push for period poverty to be taken seriously as well. As I speak for Girls Table, I can say we are ready to do our part. I think we can say we'll be waiting for you guys so that we carry on.
So these are the 4 organizations that actually will be engineering that document, isn't it so? Please
Yes,
inbox me your email so that it's easy to communicate. Easy to communicate. We can even form our own group, WhatsApp group, so that we easily communicate and have a way forward. Right. Thank you very much to our dear participants for honoring us with their presence. It can never be a good discussion without you participants. And then Thank you for to you panelists. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Theresa. Thank you, Nobukhosi. And thank you, Professor, for taking time to come and take part in this discussion. And I believe this should not be the first and last where we meet and discuss. We should actually continually discuss making a way forward in how we fight for our girls, right? I believe at the end of everything else, no girl in Zimbabwe should be experiencing a period of poverty. No girl in Zimbabwe should not receive education. No girl in Zimbabwe should live in poverty. All the girls should actually be given an opportunity to realize their potential. And all this can be done if we work together. Let's join hands to fight this war. Together we can. Thank you very much. Goodbye.